Welcome to a brand new episode of Direct Dil Se, where we meet and chat with ordinary people with extraordinary stories. So welcome to a brand new episode of Direct Dil Se, and with me and Avantika is Monali and Hema today. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we are at Roohi store, by the way, new location. So welcome to Roohi store also. Is this your first time, both of you in Roohi store? No.
She came there.
I think many times. I don't remember. Maybe third time.
Yeah. And first time for you, Hema?
First time in your house also.
First time. So welcome, Hema.
And first time also for this podcast.
Yes.
So I'll be clumsy.
No, it's okay.
So before we start, let me introduce you. Hema Hazarika and Monali Longmailai, both of them are actually my classmates. So I used to study in Don Bosco school. They used to study in St. Agnes school. But we were in the same batch and used to take tuitions also together. Okay. And we often meet. But Hema, right now you're based in Haflong.
Oh, yeah.
But at the moment,
it's kind of like temporary, or what is it?
I was working in Chennai. So as an editor there in publishing house in Oxford University Press. So I used to edit school books, basically English. Then 2 years ago, in August 2017, I resigned from that job, and after that I just backpacked all across India and Nepal for 251 days.
251 days.
Without
That's
stop.
A lot of.
Actually, the plan was, when I just resigned, the plan was only to visit Bombay. Bombay and Ladakh,
And then what happened?
And Spiti. Only these 3 places I wanted to visit. But after visiting all those 3 places, I enjoyed it so much, So I said...
You couldn't stop?
Yeah. I went with the flow. So it became 251 days.
Okay, 251. And did you take breaks in between?
No, I didn't take breaks. But in Delhi, I stayed at my friend's place for like 2 weeks at Igale's place. You must know.
She took a break for like only 2 weeks. Just 2 weeks.
But it was continuous.
It was a break.
So, and that particular trip has to come to an end because I got sick actually in Kerala at the time. I was in Varkala. It's a sea town. So the trip came to an end because I got sick.
So were you traveling alone?
Yeah.
Yes, mostly solo. I prefer solo traveling.
Okay.
Solo because I get all the freedom to do what I want during solo trips. If you go in a group, there are kind of restrictions.
Absolutely.
You can't do anything on your own. You have to think about the others, what they like. Okay, we'll stay here for 10 minutes. If I want to stay in a place for 1 hour, I can stay for 1 hour if I'm solo traveling. But if I'm in a group, I cannot. So that kind of restrictions I don't enjoy while I'm traveling. So I mostly prefer solo.
I don't know. I have this feeling this podcast is going to be epic.
Of course, because 251 days of travel, there will be so many stories in that. And if we start talking about all the stories, I think this will be a 10-hour podcast. Okay, we'll come to your solo travel. So many things to ask you.
Yeah.
But Monali is here and she reached just today.
Yes. Haflong. And thank you so much for giving us time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Because you reached Haflong, you are here now. You'll go back to your home, and tomorrow you have a long day. Tomorrow you're here. Can you tell us why are you here?
Actually,
what is happening tomorrow in Haflong?
Actually, I came today for the grand plan for tomorrow. That is, there is a book release of Studies on Dimasa, History, Language and Culture, Volume 2. That is the 2nd edition.
Which has been edited by
Monali
Longmailai.
And the interdisciplinary papers from sociology, literature, linguistics, and then you have history, geology, social culture, a lot of papers, all interdisciplinary. So nobody has written papers and edited interdisciplinary fields in this manner. So this is the first that has ever happened, especially for Dimasa. And I hope that tomorrow the book release will go successfully. And
congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Best of luck.
And the second reason is also because right after the book release that we have this Dimasa Students Unions program on the first Dimasa intellectuals meet. So I am blank. I don't know what will be happening. Although there will be discussions on history, basically Dimasa history. So that is it. So I plan to go back tomorrow evening, if possible. If not, then the day next.
And you'll be going back to Tezpur, where you are teaching, right?
Yes.
So you are teaching in Tezpur, and how long has it been?
It's been 3 years, more than 3 years, a little more than 3 years. I'm not just teaching; I'm also a part of the research from the Center for Endangered Languages.
Okay.
So there we are teaching the MA Linguistics program, and I'm also mentoring 2 Kukichin languages, Biate and Rangkhol, which are spoken from our district, Dimasa. So there are 6 to 7 languages that the Center for Endangered Languages is currently working on. And right now I'm also editing a morphology volume on these 6 languages of Northeast India.
Okay,
so
interesting.
Yeah, that is from the center. So that is pure linguistics.
So we have these 2 very interesting individuals with us, and you were all classmates.
Yes.
Imagine, you all studied together, but they were my senior in school. I was just a year junior.
No, 1 year.
Just a year, yeah. Just a year.
So I'm lost now. I don't know where to start. I mean, you are releasing a book tomorrow, and
she has traveled
you have
251
traveled
days.
251 days solo,
non-stop.
In India. When very often, like, we worry and we are discussing about, is India safe for travelers? Is India safe for women? And then here you are, a girl solo traveling
And
to all these different places. So okay, any point of time where you felt unsafe or something,
No, Steve, I like to find this incident. It was in Lucknow. During this trip, and I think I was in a roadside tea stall. Okay, I was sipping tea, and there was one guy. He was also sipping tea and just kept looking at me. I told him Hindi, why are you looking at me? He didn't say anything. I told to the shopkeeper also, please, this man is looking at me, will tell him something. The shopkeeper also told him. Then he drank the tea, then he left. I thought he completely left, I thought. So once I was done sipping tea or sitting, enjoying there, I finished with that. Then I started to take a stroll around. There's a square, small square in Lucknow. I noticed that he was following me. So I thought, I got a bit scared. No, he was following me. And there were many shops. I went to those shops. I saw that he was still following. I entered the shop. I stayed. It was a grocery shop. So I stayed for like 10 minutes. After I came out, that guy was gone.
So, yeah, that's scary.
Spooky.
But is that the only time, like, out of all the traveling you've done in India, was that the only time where someone was following you?
Following.
I mean, like, was that the only incident?
Yes, that
where
was the only incident.
Then she's very lucky.
Then I think
that life is still safe.
I mean, we are not saying that incident was nothing to be worried about,
but not so much worried. Yes,
yeah,
but
but
something fell.
Out of like 251 days, if there is one incident that you can recall, that means safe it
But even if you are solo, whether you're in groups, it's always better to be aware of your surroundings.
Yes.
To be alert.
Because
you never know. You can say home is the safest, but even home can be dangerous.
Yeah, even hotels or wherever you are putting up,
So don't always rely on media to know about a particular place. Go out there and see for yourself.
And to add that, Hema is, I guess, the only solo traveler from our district.
Oh,
that
yes.
too, a woman.
A big female.
Not even a man has ever solo traveled.
Yes.
What bug got you? Like, kya se shuru hum log? I want to go to Bombay. Why? Why Bombay? And the three places.
Traveling started 8 years back. It's not recently. It was since 8 years I've been traveling. I think being a Sagittarius, we are quite restless and adventurous.
I'm a Sagittarian.
Oh, really? High five.
Yes.
But you are not restless.
In my mind, I'm restless. I am restless. That's why we are doing this also. Maybe otherwise, na phone में बात हो जाता रहा ये. No need to set up this camera and all. Yes, continue.
So like when we see this Discovery, National Geographic, all the travel shows, we read about them.
Yeah.
So like the world is such a big place. There's so many things to see. So why not just go out and explore? And I like to point out it is this particular place called McLeodganj. You know where Dalai Lama stays. It's in Himachal Pradesh. I was working that time in Delhi, so I was asking my colleagues, please come, let's go there. None of my colleagues was interested. I got so frustrated. Let me go around. It was from that trip my solo trip started, and that's why McLeodganj is very close to me. It's very precious for me.
Which year was that?
To April 2014.
2014. Wow.
So it was McLeodganj when Dalai Lama was calling her. Come visit.
I think you should visit that place. It's
I haven't
place,
been. क्या उधर मैं कभी नहीं किया मैं McLeodganj. I have hardly traveled like in Delhi in and around. I just been to few places, Rajasthan, Himachal.
But Monali, you also
to
like traveling. You have been to.
I have done.
I think we did traveling also together.
Yeah. I have done solo traveling. I have done group traveling. I have done, as usual, family traveling. So I do love traveling, and when I travel, my family and my friends might get annoyed because I'm always into photography. Each time I'll just take out my face and then I'll just start taking videos and photos. So that used to be there right from the beginning. Hema and we went to Turuk last time, right?
Yes.
And Bangalore that lie also.
Yes, Bangalore that lie. So it was actually pre-planned when I came to Haflong in July last year. I was telling them that after the trek that we have done together, the rail.
Then
we decided that I think we should be doing something more like this, and not only because we need to explore, but also it kind of bonds our friendship, and people also come to know more about
and also
because
when
it comes
Dimasa
from a local,
has lots of
local perspective,
tourism potential, so we don't know about our own district.
And in that way we start to know about the local history and local culture and local geography like that. So I decided when I come back, I have to come and then I'll take my friends along and do some trekking. So I asked many of us, not just Hema, I asked our friends Kalpana and Meberika and Igale, and then Igale was not there, and Meberika had to look after her children. And Kalpana had some exam duty or something like that. So it turned out only Hema was available. But that's how we planned to go to Bendao Bike Glide, and we went there. Then after that, we went. It's
a beautiful village, right?
Yes, it's a beautiful village. It's a very beautiful village, and we had a very young guide. She is in class 8.
Oh, it was a she. Oh,
so
wow,
for two of us, a female guide, and she was very young, and we couldn't go to the other waterfall because she might not have known the way out to go there. But it was fine with us for the rest of the day to spend in just that part of the waterfall. After that, Turuk, actually, I had contacts with my informants. We are doing Biate field work, so I had contacts with the informants, and my colleagues were also working in Moaldam. So I called up some of them, and then especially Benzil, you must be knowing him. Benzil is very helpful. So through him, I contacted others, and I told him, let's go. I mean, you shouldn't miss this. So we went, and then we had a good time. We walked from Moaldam to Turuk, and then from Turuk we climbed down to...
Which month of the year did you visit
Turuk? January 2nd, I guess.
Must have been
very
third.
To see the frost.
To see the frost.
You saw the frost.
Yes, we
wanted to see snowfall or something like that.
Yes. And we climbed down the mountain. That area is called Jildab because it's very... kind of damp and cold. There's very less sunshine, and I think we were the first two women to actually climb down the mountain. And it took us around 4 hours.
4 hours.
4 hours, and from there we took a sumo to Haflong. So actually I've covered that, and I put it. I started putting them in my blog, Blue Moon Heart.
Okay, yes, let's talk about. You also have a YouTube
Yeah,
channel, and
but
I saw
I-
like you post
Yeah.
spurts of your videos like every now and then. But I don't think you
But
have that
actually
much
it's
of time
once
to.
in a blue moon, so which is why I kept my name Blue Moon Heart, because I am a very lazy YouTuber and I don't have time. And it's just that there are some trips that are very special to me. So I just think like, okay, chalo, let
It
me
should
just
be
put
shared,
these, videos like
But
that.
I think it will be very glad. Like it will be interesting for all of us to
Yeah.
see your content also on
And
YouTube, because maybe you have your students in Tejpur, so when they see it,
Yes.
it's a different
They
perspective.
get very motivated, and I'm also planning to put up this recent Konumang field trip that I have done in Karbi
Okay.
Anglong. And my students are very excited. They keep on asking me, as in, ma'am, when are you putting it? Because people have to know. They think Karbi Anglong is very dangerous because of the mob lynching.
Still, yeah, still.
After that incident,
And
especially.
I was the only, course instructor, being a woman, and all the students were girls. And I took all the girls together, on a truck. And I did not know what kind of place it is, and it was totally remote. And people mostly were telling us, like, you can take some recordings in Difu and Manja area. But then I decided, no, I'll go up there. And the Gabura himself was not confident of how to, handle us because of they have issues with, insurgency and that stuff and all. I was like, choro, nothing will happen. So we took a truck, and at first when they said it's Shaktiman truck, I was like, okay, it must be a very good truck. But when I saw Shaktiman truck, it's like this, there's no body. It's like more or less
like that?
Yeah, because Shaktiman trucks,
It's
I
like a
don't know
Salman Khan truck.
if they make
okay.
it anymore.
Yeah.
But then maybe they have stopped the production. But, so all the Shaktiman trucks that are running
like
right now must
these
be
and
quite
then
old.
like these.
Oh, that's it.
And they panicked, my students, how to go, and I just scolded them like, we cannot just leave now. And there were some arrangements and with the help of local people, they set. And then we went. It was a really kind of a hell of an adventure going up there, where there is no electricity, no mobile network, nothing as such. It's so remote, and people mostly rely on ginger cultivation.
Okay, there too.
Yes, and there is no school. There is just one school in one room, which is a house basically. In one room, they have from class nursery to class 3. And this is class A, this is class B, this is class 1. Like
That's
just
it.
one teacher. And after class 3, they have to walk down to Manja to study. So it's so remote. And I had a very good time. So I'm hoping to, I think I have to upload this as a...
Yeah, you
People
should.
have
We
to
would
know
like
what
to see.
happens.
We would like to
Exactly.
see. Yeah.
I will
See.
take time, but then...
Yeah, take your time, but we would like to see it sooner or later.
So in our last vlog also we were talking about this, like why we also started vlogging, like we made the channel Haflong Vlogs, is because basically we also had no idea what we are going to shoot. I mean, like we might have an idea with one video, but we had no set idea. Like suppose someone एक ही kind of videos करेगा, ऐसा नहीं था. So at the end we knew that for us this is like a documentation of
our
lives.
Our journey.
Not just our lives, but what we see around us is we are all part of what is happening right now, right? So this is a documentation of our history. Because I mean, we live in a small place. I mean, we are simple people, so no one is going to write big history books about us, And then when we'll die and when things will change after 100 years, everyone will not remember that this thing happened.
Yeah.
So I mean, video form is a new way of like documenting our history. That's what I
I should
said.
mention
Very
that
necessary.
it was through your old MG line.
Yes.
Oh,
Through
yes.
that video I came to know about. That's why I suggested to let's do this MG line.
Okay.
Yeah, because see that also that particular video did quite well. As in like a lot of people watched that video, and even us, we were not aware of how that line, like the condition of that, that whole area. So one day suddenly, I think it was Bonkim Haflong.
Yeah, Bankim Haflong, if you are aware of this guy, he is my cousin.
Yeah, so with Bonkim
So it was
Haflong at the time, he has an NGO. And he worked with many places, and he was also very instrumental in setting up the Samparadisa Village Ecotourism Committee, actually. And that is how Samparit Disa, more people were now interested in becoming guides and bringing in tourists. So one day he calls us up like, "Chalo trekking jayega, chalo we are always ready. तो कहाँ जाएगा? तो चलो Haflong Hill पुराना वाला जो line है Chatting का वहाँ तक खत्म होता है. चलो we." And then my drone was, उस समय नया आया था. तो चलो जाएगा, and then we shot there. It was beautiful. And then after that, a lot of people went there and got to know about the place, and still are.
They're still
To
going.
this day, people are still commenting and asking. Yes.
I remember now. My goodness.
Yes.
Even that waterfall also, because of your video, we came to it. That's why both of us decided to go and to that
Samparit Disa village. So that is why it's like a documentation of our own history and our own lives. So okay. By the way, I was just checking out your Facebook profiles and everything, and I remembered कि एक तो हम लोग गलती करते हैं बहुत देर से. So we have been addressing her as Monali. It should be Dr. Monali Longmailai. By the way, you have done your PhD.
Yeah.
And so you're a professor of endangered languages.
Professor in linguistics, but the center where I'm doing teaching and research is Center for Endangered
Languages.
So our focus is more towards utilizing our skills in documenting and revitalizing the endangered languages of Northeast India. So in this center we have Biate, Khelma, Rangkhol from our district, and we have Purum and
so these are endangered languages.
Yes, endangered.
Biate,
Khelma
and Rangkhol.
As in endangered, as in lesser documented.
Okay, so
yeah,
that's right.
And from Manipur, Purum and Oname, and from Nagaland, Yumchungar and Liangmai.
I haven't heard of this.
Yumchungar is not so similar like Liangmai with Zimi. Liangmai and Zimi and Rongmei, they are quite similar to each other. Yumchungar is a little different.
Okay. So we, Dimasa community, are we endangered?
Yes.
We are also
I'm there
endangered.
to work. Actually, there is nobody to, basically do work on these languages. So basically, we have been working on that. And I have also, actually the reason why we went for fieldwork with my students, to Khonumang village, Karbianglong, is to document the Paite language, if at all it is spoken. So we went to see the linguistic scenario because it's a Kuki-dominated area, and there is a confused identity, or we can call it a conflict in identity. Language and ethnicity. It's the Kuki people call them as their Thado. They speak Thado and they are Kukis. But the Paites in Diffu, they think that they're still Paite even if they come in the Kuki group. So there is a confused identity. And when we went to the village, and we, when we started documenting the speech, the data, and we realized like there are minor variations. I mean, it is not completely Thado, and they do speak a kind of Paite which is Lamzang. So they speak a Lamzang variety of Paite, and that was something that we discovered. Though there is a high influence of Thado in their language, so which means like this particular variety of Paite might go extinct in maybe 10-20 years when the kids will grow up.
Wow.
So it is very necessary to document whatever linguistic situation we see of that particular language. So that was the reason. And then previously we went to document Rengma. So the plus point of my job is that I get to travel and I also get to document and know all these languages. So when I went to document Rengma with my students last year in Kenlari village, Karbianglong, you have to go via Silonijan. So there when I went, there is no mobile network, no shop, no bank, nothing, and you have to cross 3 rivers, natural 3 rivers without the bridge. You have to take a trekker or a local lorry, and the best part of the speakers is that they are very proud of the language and they're retaining their language. I mean, they make sure that even their children speak the language. It's just that they're very vulnerable because the neighboring languages are Assamese and Nagamis. So there might be a chance where the language might be less used, but then they use it in their church, they use at home, and they have a they have an LP school, and they kind of, I don't know if they're making use of Rengma or not, but there is a chance that Rengma can survive, but Paite, I have a doubt. That is what I have observed. And 2 years ago, I went to document Deuri and Bor Deuri Gaon. And I must say the Deuri dialect, Dibongia dialect, is the only living dialect of Deuri. All other dialects are extinct.
Wow.
So, extinct in the sense that they might be speaking, but then we count as in like speakers less than 1,000 or 100, nearly extinct or extinct, we can consider that. So, only Dibongia is spoken in Bor Deuri Gaon in Lakhimpur. So, in that place, they cannot use even numerals from after 1 to 6, I guess. It's all Assamese. But we met one woman who could even count to 1 lakh using all the mathematical, formula of counting. And what was interesting was they can count with 5. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers in one hand. So 5 plus 1 is 6. Or, that way they're able to count. That is pentenary.
How many languages do you know?
No as in...
No as in like
and
speak.
No as in, okay, when I say speak, I mean like you don't have to be really good at it or know many, words and, frame sentences, but thora bahut ek word bhi do word.
You're just assuming that she is into linguistic. You're like...
Just because I'm into linguistics does not necessarily mean that I will know as in on what ground. I mean, based on which sense.
As someone who does not know anything about this subject,
it's like,
and as someone who is actually very bad in language,
that's him.
Which is me.
I mean, it's like, in today's world, do you think it's better to be multilingual?
This is what I wanted to...
It's very necessary.
Here's
because
something
the more languages
you come across, the better your world knowledge will be. And I may be able to speak just a few languages, like obviously Dimasa, my mother tongue, then Hindi, Haflong Hindi, English, Assamese, Bengali because of contact, and then some Boro because it's similar to Dimasa. Not more than that. But as a linguist, I know that Tibeto-Burman languages will have these features. Like it's like you're asking a doctor as in what kind of symptoms a person having so and so can be. So basically, I have a fair idea what kind of features Austroasiatic languages can have. So or Tibeto-Burman or Indo-Aryan. So these obviously I know. I mean, with my teaching and learning and experience. But speaking is very less.
I often think about the importance of language and the future of language. Like, I mean, the human brain is also capable of doing certain number of calculations and storing a certain amount of information, right? So, what I'm trying to say is, as the world is becoming more global and we are becoming one, so aren't we ultimately going to speak only few languages? I mean, I understand the whole emotion of like protecting one's language and one's culture and tradition. Okay. But there are thousands and thousands of languages, I mean, since ages. And I can understand the importance at that time because back then, I mean, a community, suppose a community here in our district or suppose a community there in Africa, it will be confined to your own community. A Dimasa tribe, for example, in this district won't communicate with a tribe there in Africa. So that person does not need to learn that language. But now with the world becoming more global, so now we can travel here to there, we are working with each other. And sometimes I feel that with so many languages, the option of having so many languages, is it restricting us from working better and communicating better also? I mean, ultimately, aren't we all going to speak in one language? Won't it make us as a human race more productive? I mean, it will be at the cost of letting go of your, emotion and tradition and culture. But isn't it inevitable that one day, I mean, I'm not saying in the near future, but 100, maybe 200 years or 150 years, there will be like major, like 2 or 3 languages will be spoken, and ultimately, which you can see the influence here also. Now, all of us can like speak in English and Hindi and use that majorly. even Assamese, like the influence of Assamese in our district, for example, you could have said कि 10 साल पहले में तो एकदम कम था, but now you have to.
Yes.
But then Assamese लोग भी, when they go outside, now they realize कि खाली Assamese से नहीं होगा, मुझे English में भी अच्छा होना है. So ultimately तो एक to one language नहीं रह जाएगा वही. So I feel this is my thinking कि हम लोग the way we hold on to our languages is थोड़ा emotional है, but if you think practically, ultimately we'll have to let go of our language. Why I'm saying this is because there are some, language and culture को लेके भी एकदम extremist लोग जो है ना, though we are like, my language is better, I can protect. I understand, but then if everyone thinks like that, किसका वाला more important है बोलने से तो. I mean, in our context, in our district, if we go with our majority, if we थोड़ा बड़ा करते जाएगा तो whose is more important? And I think there conflict might start, and which is happening abhi Indian context में भी. Recently in the political sphere, you can see West Bengal में Bengali नहीं. If you don't know Bengali, then you are not. बंगाल में नहीं होना चाहिए. Then आसाम में भी जब Assamese को implement करेगा बोला, compulsory करेगा बोला, that's when all the problems started. So but then at the end now you see कि I mean, for example, उस टाइम में मिजोरम में प्रॉब्लम हुआ, नागालैंड में प्रॉब्लम हुआ, बोला आसामीस नहीं चाहिए, तो हम लोग अपना स्टेट दे दो, आसामीस लेकिन नहीं बोलेगा. बट नाउ इफ यू सी, वो लोग कोरियन बात सीख रहा है, इंग्लिश बात सीखने में तो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, तो आसामीस सीखने में क्यों प्रॉब्लम था? तो वो ईगो था ना उस टाइम में. लेकिन अल्टीमेटली इफ यू आर ओके टू एक्सेप्ट इंग्लिश, इफ यू आर ओके टू एक्सेप्ट French also, because French is cool, then why? So that's the problem with,
So you have a point, you have a very good point, and the very fact is that why do we need a language? Why do we need to speak? That is the first thing, right? We speak because we want to communicate our ideas and thoughts. That's the very first thing. Now, you will use a language in a way that is convenient for you to communicate. So, you see, English 1,000 years ago and English as of now
is different.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
You have read, I'm sure, Beowulf's English, no? During college days, I'm sure you have read that. The old English, and look at the English now, and look at the Northeast Indian English. Hey, mine, so bad, you, mine, don't go, no. This English, and then the British English, and then the Indian English, they're all totally different. So what is happening is that whichever language we think is convenient for our lifestyle, the way we live, we try to adapt and accept that particular language. And I think it is not wrong. But regarding these indigenous languages of Northeast India, there is a point when you have every right to love your own language. After all, it's your,
of course,
it's from where your roots can be identified. But I think sometimes we need to understand certain things where being too emotional is not good for us as well. Because you see, say abhi to technology ka time hai na. So say you have this sound recorder now. If you coin a new word for sound recorder in Dimasa or in Mizo, then speakers may know the word, but they'll still use sound recorder, they'll still use mobile phone, or they'll still use computer, they'll use whichever word is used in majority. So it's more about adaptability, then comes the acceptability. So that is the point, and I think we shouldn't be too stiff in doing this cultural operation. Cultural linguistic operation is not a good idea. You see, there is a case of Uyghur language, if you know. There was a linguist who wanted to do something, revitalize his language. Uyghurs are Chinese Muslims, and that linguist wanted to open a school for the stage 1 and stage 2, class 1 and class 2 students, just to preserve their mother tongue. I shouldn't be saying that, but then it's a well-known fact that the Chinese government jailed him because he was teaching them his mother tongue, not Chinese. So it looks like the world is full of competition now. Kiska language survive karega in this competition?
Recently there was a controversy. I'm not aware कि मतलब सुनाने नहीं बोल के Mia poets बोल के Mia poetry. So I know some of them. Okay, I've met them also. So these people are mostly of Bengali Muslim origin. So so they are poets, and they gave a term to their poetry, matlab Mia poetry.
Mia poetry.
So of course they wrote about social and political issues, but when you say Mia poetry, they did not restrict themselves to one language. So some were writing in Assamese, some were writing in English, some were writing in Hindi, but they like, मतलब एक term दे दिया Mia poetry बोल के, which I found no problem, because when I also started singing songs as Mr. India, Haflong हिंदी में हम गाया, so I was like, there is Haflong का हिंदी का गाना बोल के, मतलब so, and then recently someone उन लोगों के ऊपर में case FIR कर दिया. So these Mia poets are like painting a different picture of reality of Assam. Like they're painting the whole Assamese community as xenophobic, like we are just oppressing the Muslims and the Bengalis and all. So their poetry and the word usage of the word Mia poetry,
Mia poetry.
Mia poetry. So ऐसा करके बहुत controversy हुआ.
Actually, oppression is not good. अभी तुम देखो, I mean English. Why are we using English? Because they are not oppressing the use of the language, right? They are not saying that you have to use this British English, or they're not saying you have to use.
But they did at one point of time.
They did. That is the history. Now what is happening is we're all using it because nobody is stopping us, and nobody is confining it for anything or for that matter. So what I want to say is that these languages, these languages of Northeast India can survive in this competition if they become more progressive. If you look at Dimasa right now and Dimasa 1,000 years ago in Dimapur, can you imagine how different it might have been? So language keeps on evolving. It just depends on if you want to let a language survive in the future, you also need to bring in new things, bring a change. You have to accept and mold some changes in the language so that the language can survive, so that the language can have its own replacement to survive along with the other languages in this rat race of survival. So if the speakers of the language have this thought, the language बच जाएगा. But if the speakers keep thinking, then we have to save this. We will not change our language. This is how we speak. This is the the problem is they always think we have to speak the original language. There's nothing as original. If you look at Sanskrit, most of the words you'll find are reconstructed from Proto-Tibeto-Burman. You'll even see that. Even the word Jew in Dimasa rice beer, or zoo in Pukichin languages, or even in Proto-Tibeto-Burman, I heard from a linguist. I don't know if it is true, but then he's a well-known linguist. He said it has a way of coming from Arabic. So you see, language will always keep in contact. You cannot be stiff with a language. Latin has died because they started making it a prescriptivist grammar. This is the language that you have to speak. Once you put restrictions on a particular language, the language will die. So you have to let a language flow. When you let a language flow, then when you bring when you start adding things, then basically look at the word itself, Hagrasha. Hagrasha used to be a caveman, right? Now Hagrasha means the basically people who
militants.
Yes, the militants. See, the language is evolving, the concept is evolving, meaning keeps changing. So if we start adding new ideas, the language will survive. That is the thing. So basically it rests with the speakers, as in वो लोग कैसे जिंदा रखेगा the language.
You're saying something.
You see, when you're talking about language, see, I travel all over.
That is what I was about to ask you. I think you're coming to that. Like the practical use of language comes like we test it when we travel. So you have been to different parts of India. So language, क्या language में बात करते रहा?
See, sometimes I pick up one or two words, local languages. So when I interact with the locals, so they're very appreciative when they see a visitor talking in their languages. If it is a broken language, no, they will appreciate of that. Like, what is there? In Chennai, I stayed for 2 years. I picked up maybe only 2-3 words.
In Chennai?
Not more than that. So,
yes. Picking up words is very necessary. When I was in Shillong, the security guards, the Kongs, they are basically from villages, and I used to use Khasi Hindi, and they feel very much at home, and they start loving you more just because you start using their kind of the speech. So it's very necessary to make them feel at home as well.
So just like you said, like there should be no restrictions in language,
Yes.
and as well as in life as general. No restrictions in life, fashion, or
When you start being accepting people, when you start accepting
Yeah.
people's language more, you also start accepting their, culture.
Absolutely.
And there will be peace, love, peace, everything else. That is the basic.
yeah, that's
concept.
what at this point of my life I think I am more peace loving and more calm. Even though you might find me a little thora, what do you call that, anxious. But then I feel now at this point of life, I think I am appreciating life more and appreciating the person the way they are. Earlier I wasn't like this. I feel. Because I know myself. Earlier in school I was quite harsh, and I have this funny incident. I was so much anti-marriage. I never wanted to marry, and I detested everybody who got married. There came a time, there was this friend that I made who was from Russia, and we were very good friends, and then we had some good times, and we were friends on Facebook, and one day I saw she got married.
Okay.
And then I just unfriended her because she got married. I was like, how could she betray me? Like, we said that we are anti-marriage and no person can share their life with the other person. So, see, that was the kind of person I was like in 2012. So now I'm different. So I think once you accept how the other person is, and then there are no restrictions, there are no bars, I think you grow personally also. Like, and when you said like you travel solo and you like solo traveling, but I think you enjoy each other's company. I think you both are very compatible.
We have learned so much. That is also
got
one
angry
part.
also.
We fight, we get angry, we exchange words, and then we again love each other. I mean, we learn, and we learn patience, and we learn how to understand each other's flaws, and then accept each other. And that is the best part of also traveling. In groups, I mean, you learn people, and you
as a
also
solo
learn from within.
As a solo traveler, I get lots of judgmental looks.
When you travel?
Judgmental, when I travel solo, especially from the Indians. You're traveling alone. Your family allow you to travel alone? How can you do that? So when then they asked me, are you not married?
Let me come to that. Let me come to that topic.
You're not married.
Why?
Always this question. And another friend of mine, she told me, why are you wasting your time traveling and spending money? What you get by doing it? Now I no more listen to all these things.
So how do you deal with all this sort of criticism, unwanted advice?
Because I don't want my life to be dictated by society.
Absolutely.
So I do what I am doing, what I love. Because if I listen to what log to kya kahenge, my life will be stuck in one place.
So one question. So how do you deal when they say शादी क्यों नहीं हुआ, क्यों नहीं किया? So what do you say? Because I faced this for a very long time पहले, but luckily I got married. Luckily I got married, and that too with a Dimasa guy.
It definitely was pure luck, because I had no idea you will get married, because even I know how you used to be.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, oh my god, Avantika. Okay, Daniel's parents, might be finding a girl, but then Avantika, Daniel, arre, and I was like,
ये तो नहीं होना था, मतलब कैसे हो गया?
But I was very happy and I was very shocked, and I was like, okay, it's great.
Yeah, so how do you deal? Because now that I'm married, the other question that I always get asked is like, बच्चे कब ले रहे हो?
Yes.
So पता नहीं, I don't know if they are going to take care of my children. People who are very concerned about my kids.
I wanted to do when I was standing on the edge. I said, God, why did I stand here? What I'm going to do? But the moment they push you now, when you fall down, I think that's you
so
feel
it's
like
like
complete freedom.
the questions and the what to say, pressure, because they might think they are not giving pressure, but they are indirectly trying to push you, especially if you're nice, if you're someone who can, hey, kya, what are you asking? But if you're like, okay, smile, which I think we are.
Which we are. We can,
so
someone
I think
asking,
most of us, like I know you also
You also
quite
would
well.
be like that, I assume.
I'm sure on your face you won't say, who you, man, come on.
I did, I have ended up in fights with some people because sometimes I also become like a feminist.
You have got into a lot of debates in social media
social
also.
Media,
on different topics also.
Just ignore
right?
the social media. Live,
In real life.
Live I had, real fights with passengers because I keep on traveling,
With passengers?
Yes. Passengers because, they're rude. Just because I'm a woman, they're rude. And that is the thing. And now once it happened, I had to travel and I wanted the seat in front. I was telling that that person was sitting in front and that the driver told him and I also told him Dada, I want to sit in front because I'm a lady. Please don't mind. I mean, just for my own safety, I want to sit in front. And he was not letting me sit. And then, it's a car. And behind as well, there's a man sitting by the window and there's another man sitting by the window and they're telling me to sit in the middle. And I was like, oh my God. And that was the peak time when there was a, rape case, news was highlighted. One of the rape cases. No, not Nirbhaya. I think somebody had, it happens every time. Some news happened. And I was wondering, why should I sit in the middle? If something happens, how am I going to get out? So I told him, please give me one window seat. And nobody was listening. And I just, said so rude of you. You being a fellow passenger, you should understand a woman's safety. I wanted to sit in front. How can you be so mannerless and so rude? And then he just stared at me and then the driver said, please don't mind. For now you sit here, we'll manage later. I just said, I don't mind usually, but I was just worried, what if something happens to me sitting in the middle. And there were passengers also at the back, all men. And I was not liking the idea. Then later on, they were all, strangers. And this man tells me, how dare you say so and so to me? How dare you say that? I said, excuse me, I only told you because I'm a woman. I need my safety. What safety do you want? You think I'm not safe? Do you think men are not safe? Don't I have the right to sit here? I booked this seat. You cannot just because you're a lady, you cannot sit in front. I have booked this. You cannot say like that. I mean, please be polite. Please be nice. And then the man sitting next to me is shouting at me, saying, shut up. And he's raising his voice. And there was a scenario. And I was telling, who are you? Why are you shouting at me? I mean, I want to sit by the window for my own safety. Who are you people? Don't you have a daughter at home? And then they're saying who you being a girl, don't ever dare to talk in front of a man like this. I got very angry. And then I said, you see, I'm not just a girl as you assume. I'm not a plain student. I'm also working. I also have an equal, respectable position like you. I'm also working. I'm teaching in, Tispu University. I have to travel and you shouldn't be talking like that. And then they started making fun of my occupation. Oh, are you a teacher? You are a professor? She is a student. And they started being judgmental. And I got very annoyed. And then there was a passenger next to me and then he is Khasi and then he said that sister, please don't mind, just ignore them. It's okay, I'm here, don't worry. And then because one passenger cooled me down, I got cooled and I just sat quietly and then I started talking to him. And both of them were staring at me as in how dare she even talk to fellow passengers like that. So the idea which I didn't like was that why is this that why do they think that women do not have a right to talk in front of men? And these are the same Assamese people of our own state. And just because I'm a girl, just because that man is older than me, don't I have a right to raise my voice?
Absolutely.
I was really, upset. So it does happen. And there was one time when I was sitting in my own seat in travel when I was going to Guwahati, and then there was a man. He's a Muslim, and then he's telling me, "You're going to your home in this hour?" Because yes, because it's my office hour, and then I have to travel after my office hour, so it gets late. And then he says, "Swali manu iman rati jabo bhal naha." And the very fact that Swali manu, it really affected me, and I was so angry. And I said Eku noy. I just said that and I just kept quiet. But why do they always think that Swali manu should be should always have restrictions wherever you go? This is something that I have faced because I am also like him. I'm very independent. I go anywhere on my own. I do things on my own. And this Swali manu thing has eaten up my head like anything in Assam.
It
It
also,
is a social problem. It's a social problem.
Yeah, it reminds me of a small episode I had during the election. It was during the month of January. So he would go campaigning, so I would also tag along. He'd be like, we are into this together, so let's do it together. So I would accompany him. Then I would have aunties who would be in the house. So when I would come back from the meeting, from the campaigning, quite tired, then they would be like, tum kaha gaya? I was like, campaigning mein? Tumra campaigning hai na tumra husband ka hai? I was like, he's campaigning, but I felt like I had to be there. Like I felt like we two like are one person, like one soul. So we had to do this thing together. And they're like, nahi, you have to be in the house na. Kitchen sambhalne lagta hai tumko. I was like, he is campaigning. Why should I be taking care of the kitchen when there are like 20 aunties in the kitchen to look after the kitchen?
Not just auntie, there were a lot of men also.
Men also, they were like, "Nee, Daniel ko election khelne do, tum ghar mein baitho." I was like, how can you say that?
That is not fair, actually. But
How
people are like that. You know,
People
even
are
in our
like that.
Dimasa society,
They are like that. They are all from the
Across
Dimasa
all
society.
all
the moment they
societies.
say Mishan Jikrao should be here, Mishan Jikrao should be there, you know, this is so much of a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem we face almost every day unknowingly. Sometimes we tend to like, oh choro yaar, isse to baat karke fayda nahi hai. But sometimes when it takes you off, like the incident that you had in the car.
I mean, they are strangers, and you know, they're commenting on me means they think it's their right to, you know, put restrictions on a woman if they think a woman is roaming freely, because they're doing that.
Maybe they are just jealous. Maybe their wives don't do that. I don't know.
And little bit of interruption. Sorry.
Yeah.
Light thoda dim ho gaya, so the viewers, please don't mind.
We have gone very deep into our.
Yes.
We
And that
can
is why the
totally
lighting
ignore
has
the
also
other
become very
camera.
deep. And but yes, this whole notion of where women's place should be in society and men's place is in society, that is also slowly changing.
It is
And,
slowly.
and then there are people who are bringing about this change, and like that is why we have people like you, Hema, who are you know, like traveling and you know, like changing mindsets, you know, because when one starts, then there's an example, you know. So tomorrow there might be a young girl who will be like, okay, I also want to do solo travel. Parents will be like, hey, kya matlab, it's not safe, and that person can say, dekho Hema Hazarika itna ghuma idhar mein, you know, if she can't, wo bhi to Haflong ka hai, if she can't, why can't we, you know. So these small things brings about change. So what I feel is, whatever you do, what people tell you, whether you think they don't get you, does not matter, because sometimes you don't even know what is your impact. Sometimes we don't even know, and I think being okay with that is the best thing. If we understand that, I mean, someone does not have to come and tell you also, you know, because of you, aisa change hua, aisa sab hua bolke. But I believe when you do something, when you take your own path, like you say, not just someone will dictate and then I'll follow that path. When you break that path, at that moment itself you are creating new paths and, you know, making spaces for other people to follow that. And I think that's great. And
I think that's what they both are also doing, because many youngsters are looking up to them, and once they see this podcast, they would be getting to know them more. Maybe some of them would contact them. You know, that's how it all sparks. So I
mean, like Monali, Dr. Monali Longmailai, teaching in Tezpur University, you will go with your pink hair, for example.
I think it's purple.
Yes, it's
purple hair. So I can imagine, like, I think 10 years, I think it was 2009-10. So I was playing with my band Digital Society at that time. So तब में I colored my hair. एक बार pink streaks किया था, एक बार हम blue किया था. And then I was a man. Women भी नहीं है, by the way. ठीक है, man. हमको तो society क्या बोलेगा? But even then there were some uncles, there were some elders who were like, क्या कर रहा है तुम? Are you serious in your life or whatever? You know, that kind of thing. Now imagine teachers are also comfortable, you know, and abhi teacher hi, if she's comfortable, you know, with colored hair, then students will also feel or be confident. Na?
Yeah, that's what.
It's just hair. It's just the
society
color of the hair.
The very fact the very fact of why I wanted to color my hair was simple. I wanted to color from long time back, and I was thinking, kab karega, because I keep on thinking and I'm not getting time. So when I colored my hair, I did not think of what people are going to think, because I think for myself first. Like I feel good, I will do that. Now when I went to Tezpur University, I was thinking like, oh, okay, let's see what kind of expressions people give. But best thing was my own, stuffs. They do not have any problem with it. And then my own coordinator said like, she was saying like purple Kori say, and she was so excited to see a purple hair, and then she said itten of Kori like and that was the best thing, that was the best encouragement. And it depends on how students want to get motivated. I mean, just because I have a purple hair does not mean that she or he or one would want to have a purple hair. If you do well in life, obviously I have motivated the student enough. But the very fact is that what they're going to learn from me is that do what you want. And
freedom
love
of
what
expression.
you do. Love what you do what you love. Simple. So that is what they're going to learn, I hope.
And
do you know how long is our podcast already?
It's been like
56 minutes.
Almost an hour.
And so the viewers also let us know. So this is what we have been debating, I think.
Yeah, because he initially was like, it's people from Haflong, so let us just start with like Adha Ghanta, because they are not used to it. But again, see, you're restricting what we want to. But after the previous podcast, we were like, ish, aram nahi hai re. Hum log aur bhi puchne raha questions. Na?
So this is what we want to ask you, our viewers, because I know, like in so many things in our life, we do it for ourselves. So I want to dye my hair, I want to travel, I want to do anything, you want to do anything, we do it. As long as we love what we do, and we know that what we are doing is not harming anyone.
It's
right?
Not,
that is important.
Our hair, it's your travel.
So
you are doing it because you enjoy it.
Enjoy it without, very important though, okay, without harming anyone, because that should not be, the message should not be it should not be a wrong signal for people to do things which are unwanted. तो कोई हो जाएगा, I will do anything, तो bike हम चलाएगा 200 kilometer per speed में,
you should know why you
because that might harm someone, हम जो भी कर देगा, हम बोतल फेंक देगा उधर में, किसी को ये कर देगा, it is my life, वैसा भी नहीं, by the way. Do what you love, do whatever you want, but it should not harm anyone, put anyone else in trouble, put anyone's lives at risk or someone's reputation at risk. ऐसा वाला काम तो नहीं, we are not encouraging that. It is just do what you love and spread positivity. But थोड़ा off track हो गया. So we want to ask you कि what do you think? I mean, I admit couple of our last podcast we have been setting थोड़ा मतलब एक time constraints कि 30-40 minutes में करेगा शायद, maybe if it is too long viewers might get bored.
We are thinking about the prospective viewers. We should be like, what the heck? No, we should do it anyway.
So viewers, what do you think if we speak for longer, if we talk for longer, I mean 1.5 hours, is that okay with you? I mean, let's see, if more people say it's okay, then we'll do it. If nahi hone se bhi, maybe we'll do it, because we want to make it longer. So I think ultimately we will do it. Before we end, I want to ask you, Hema, आजकल फिर traveling लेकिन cool हो गया, आजकल मतलब in the last couple of years थोड़ा India में traveling, like people want to travel more, young people, and I meet a lot of people and they're like, I wish I want to travel more, but काम है, ये है, family में काम है, घर में काम है,
office से छुट्टी
नहीं मिलेगा. So you were also working, and I'm sure you also have all this responsibility, which a normal person who has a family, who has friends, and who has a career has.
Point is, love yourself.
Yes.
See, I
love yourself first, and you love everything else.
Yeah, and take care of yourself first. Appreciate yourself, and only then you can
appreciate others.
Self-love is important.
You as a living history, you as an asset, you should consider yourself as an asset. So you should give time to yourself the most first. So that
I highly agree. Self-love is very, very important.
So I think on this beautiful note, we can end the podcast, because this sums up, I think, today's whole chat that we had, lovely chat. Love yourself, and because now I see more people are being socially responsible also nowadays, you know. मतलब अपना लिए नहीं, सोसाइटी के लिए भी कुछ करना है, ये सब थोड़ा फीलिंग आने लग गया है. But then I think you can only do for society other than yourself after you take care of yourself first. If you are stable, थोड़ा अपना को, you know, focus करके, and if you appreciate and love yourself, only then you can take care of others. Otherwise you can't. So thank you, Monali Longmailai.
Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Hi, hello to people on the other side of the screen. See, the world is so beautiful. So make time to go and explore this beautiful world. It doesn't mean you have to travel 365 days in a year, but just once in a while, go out and explore.
Spirits high.
Okay, of all the places you visited, if you could rate top 3 places where...
McLeodganj.
Oh, that's not fair.
I know.
Top 3.
I know.
Okay.
But on the top of your head, what comes?
Top 3 places. Okay, my first place will always be McLeodganj, because that was the first place I went as a solo traveler. And I am more of a mountain girl, not a beach person. So the next again will be Valley of Flowers. It is on Uttarakhand.
Uttarakhand.
Okay. Third will be Arunachal Pradesh. Northeast is still unexplored, less commercialized. So I think people should come to Northeast, and yes, be a responsible traveler, and
do not litter.
Means don't go and litter the place.
Absolutely.
That is very necessary.
Very important, yeah.
Monali, last few words from you.
I don't know if it is the last word or it is the first, but I only want to say that, you know, in life, you know, people get very suicidal and depressed because of all the lifestyle and the hectic schedules, and people think their life is baseless and, you know, worthless because there's too much of work stress, family stress and everything else. You know, just take a moment in your life, just throw them all together. Think of how important you are for yourself. So the basic point is, if you have missed writing poetry, if you have missed, you know, playing music, if you have missed, you know, going out, if you have missed doing good things in life, then I think this is the right time to do that. Because if not now, then when? So please make the most of your life right now. It's now.
Now is the time.
Now is the time.
Absolutely. Such a beautiful note
Yes.
by both our guests, friends.
And I feel that this won't be your last time in the podcast.
Yeah, we need to come back
Love to
again.
have you.
We will discuss
either
about
together or maybe separately on your own, because I actually want to
address so
talk
many
about
other
so
topics
many
like depression.
Please
more.
come for the book release tomorrow.
Yes. Tomorrow.
10
And
a.m.
oh no, people won't be watching this by
This
then.
is just
but
to you.
yes, okay. So thank you once again for being here.
Thank you so much.
And thank you
so
for
much.
calling us too.
Yeah, it was like
so
out of
much.
the blue, na? I was like just sitting.
Unexpected.
Yeah, it was unexpected. I was like, Monali को हम phone करेगा रे उसको. I needed to talk to her. इसको बोला, he was busy on his laptop. बोला कर लो. I called and you reciprocated.
And
we made it happen.
Yeah,
and she's like, Hema, I need to talk to Hema also. And she's like, Hema Haflong mein hai. So let's do it. So thankfully, God was great.
Yeah.
That's because we decided to do it now.
Yeah.
Do things now and
Now
not
is
wait.
the time.
Now is the time. Love yourself. Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye bye.